Dr. Carl Reed is no stranger to MIT. He has received 2 MIT degrees in material science and engineering. He has held previous roles as the Director of Engineering Outreach Programs, also known as MITES, and the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Education and Director of the Office of Minority Education. He will be returning to MIT on March 4th as the Vice President for Equity and Inclusion. Please join me in welcoming Carl back to campus.
Thank you, Miles. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So good to be back at my alma mater. Well, not yet, March the 4th. But do you know what alma mater means? It means nourishing mother. And my early education experience was nourished by the MIT community. And I'm so thrilled to be a part of something that is novel, something that is interesting, something that is challenging, a place that provided my first below 50 grade in life in 3091. Some of y'all can relate to that. And it was a 38 out of 100, not out of 50. But I'm really and especially honored to join Sally and the MIT leadership to build on the work of many who came before me, including the man we're honoring tonight. I'm deeply honored and humbled to have been asked to say a few words about Dr. Clarence Williams this evening. Y'all can clap. First of all, I just want to take a moment to thank Miles, Dianetta, Sally, Austin, Tamia, and Zena for their inspiring remarks. Now, I'm just over 2 weeks away from formally rejoining the MIT community. As much as I look forward to working closely with you, Sally, I know it's going to be a little harder to get things done without Dianetta on our team. And so I know we're here to talk about Clarence, but I really want to take a moment, and I know she just stepped out, to really completely embarrass Dianetta. She was my successor and in the Office of Minority Education, and then she took that office and that function to whole new levels, 14 years of service to the life and the culture of MIT. And we really want to take a moment to thank her for everything that she's done. Thank you, Dianetta. It's also important that we acknowledge that though it feels like we're in uncharted territory with deeply polarized politics, megaphone interpersonal modalities, and deeply siloed micro-societies, I draw inspiration from Dr. King, who envisioned a beloved community as the end goal of nonviolent activism, one that's not absent from disagreements and conflict, but invites dialogue and reconciliation, a community characterized by an ethic of care, fueled by love and trust, and one in which justice prevails. We're not only celebrating our history tonight, we also have the opportunity to collectively cast a vision for a beloved community that lives out our values of excellence and curiosity, openness and respect, and most relevant tonight, belonging and community. We're about to recognize a man who embodies these ideals. I'm going to start with some formal details about Clarence's career and come to some personal reflections in a minute. I'm sure nearly every person in this room has their own story about Clarence, so once again, I'm deeply honored to be standing here to speak on his behalf and on your behalf. Clarence Jerome Williams, I just actually asked what the G stood for. He was born and raised in Goldsboro, North Carolina. I hear some folks from the Tar Heel State. In 1961, he earned his bachelor's degree from North Carolina Central University, and then 6 years later, he completed a master's degree at Hampton University. And in 1972, he earned his doctorate in higher education administration and counseling psychology at the University of Connecticut, moved his way up the coast. And in that same year, 1972, when I was years old, and many of the people here in this room hadn't been born yet, Clarence began his career at MIT. His initial appointment was as assistant dean of the graduate school. Now, it's important to note that this position, among others at MIT, was born from the work of the Black Student Union, which was then co-led by Shirley Jackson and Fred Johnson in the wake of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King in 1968. In 1974, Clarence was promoted to special assistant to the president and chancellor for minority affairs. And over time, he went on to serve other roles at the Institute. And if I had all night, I'd kind of list all of them, but I'll list a few. Acting director of the Office of Minority Education, assistant equal opportunity officer, ombudsperson, adjunct professor of urban studies and planning, and through all of it, he remained a special assistant to the president. And in fact, he was a special assistant to the president to not just one president, but 6 presidents. For more than 50 years, Clarence has been a member of the MIT community, and as I've noted, he had many titles and did many jobs. But these only scratch the surface as to why we're honoring him tonight. Clarence's truest and most lasting contribution to MIT, in my opinion, has been his unwavering advocacy for equity and justice. Inspired, I'm sure, by his deep commitment to live out the vision and the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King. For this, MIT and anyone who has ever had a relationship with the Institute owe him a tremendous amount of debt. Clarence helped guide MIT's vision on equity, inclusion, and social justice decades before these terms entered the mainstream lexicon. He's been a steady, some would say relentless, reminder of how MIT could do better. Dr. King once wrote that there comes a time when one must take a position, as we heard earlier, that is neither safe, nor politic, nor popular, but he must take it because conscience tells him it is right. This quote exemplifies Clarence. He's been a steadfast advocate for expanding access to the Institute. He's told the stories and provided a voice for the Black community at MIT while creating new platforms for others to tell their own stories. Lift every voice. In 1996, Clarence published Reflections on the Dream, a compilation of the speeches given from 1975 to 1994, which were the predecessors to this event. To him, it wasn't enough that MIT was honoring events to celebrate Dr. King every year. As an historian, he felt strongly that we needed to be reminded about what was said. By compiling what luminaries said from behind a podium, and even that wasn't enough, Clarence later also recorded detailed lived experiences, the backgrounds and voices of scores of people in the MIT community. As Black people, we all had different experiences and relationships with the Institute. Some found it a place of belonging, but most others had deeply unsettling experiences simply because of their race. These renderings provided the backbone to the book he published in 2001, Technology and the Dream, Reflections on the Black Experience at MIT, 1941 to 1999, and through ongoing work with the MIT Black History Project. In his 5 decades of work, Clarence has shown us all of it, the good, the bad, the indifferent. And in seeing it this way, he's given us a chance to experience the foundational elements that have shaped this unique institute and provide us with lessons to carry us forward. In pursuing the vision of Dr. King, MIT has had some victories, sure, but we have not always been sure-footed as an institution. There are also tensions, as we could see, challenges, near misses, and outright fumbles. In helping us see MIT's efforts to do better in detail over time, one speech and one person at a time, Clarence shows us how hard it is to live out Dr. King's vision, and how rewarding is the pursuit. On a more personal level, I can tell you I'm one of those people, and I'm one of these stories. Clarence was my first-year advisor. Yeah, so start doing the math, folks. He played a critical role to encourage me to persevere when I was making my transition to MIT, and I was underperforming with that 38 and 3091. During one particular discouraging meeting, he just admonished me, looked me square in the eye and says, "I believe you can do it." I call that the Home Depot moment. You can do it, we can help. My subsequent work in higher education, my research in self-efficacy for African American males, and my book, and the work I do today are rooted in those affirming conversations. Later, Clarence encouraged me to return to MIT in 1998. Yes, you were the one who did that, to direct the MITES program. And 2 years into directing MITES, he inspired me again. I told him I wanted to have a mainstream impact. You gotta be careful what you ask for. A mainstream impact at MIT, and he suggested I pursue a doctorate in education. And a year later, I started that program. I am Clarence's legacy. So I want us to pause and think about how many of us are blessed enough to say this, to say how this one man, how this beautiful family, Mildred, I see you, from North Carolina shaped our lives, helped us to not lose faith in ourselves, helped us to find the path we're on today as though it was there waiting the whole time and only he could see it. To properly invoke the spirit of Dr. King, as Clarence could have us do, I want us to look or cite one quote. We shall have to create leaders who embody virtues we can respect, who have moral and ethical principles we can applaud with an enthusiasm that enables us to rally support for them based on confidence and trust. That sounds like Clarence, what he has done and who he is. Tonight we applaud you, sir, with one voice, with enthusiasm, confidence, and trust. Clarence, on behalf of the MLK Celebration Committee and your MIT community, into which you've poured over 50 years, it's my honor to present you with this Lifetime Achievement Award for your long and distinguished devotion to the values and goals of Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. Please join me in thanking Clarence Jerome Williams.
I certainly will be very brief. I've learned over my 50 years connected with this beautiful institution is that do the work and let the talking will talk for itself. And one of the real beauties of this magnificent institution is the fact that throughout the academic arena, we bring in fabulous, beautiful men and women, and the faculty is of the highest order, but they all believe in letting one develop ideas they may have, and they let the bad ideas kill themselves, and the great ideas flourish. And in most cases, MIT's students, faculty, administrators flourish with great ideas. And I could not think of any place in higher education that would be better than MIT in my 50 years circling all over the country and getting to know virtually every university in the country. And I still am convinced that MIT is the best institution in this country. So I want to really thank our president, our current president, and all of the presidents that I've worked with, starting with Jerry Wiesner and Paul Gray and Charles Vest as their assistant. And I really cannot say enough about the beauty of this institution as far as the students, faculty, and administration throughout. And I just hope we continue to move forward because we need the productivity of people like we produce to help this country to not fall to the difficulties that we are witnessing today. So thank you very much.